And now, he's a San Diego native, a top-rated real estate professional by the Wall Street Journal, as seen on The American Dream on Channel 4. It's Whissel time. Your host, Kyle Whissel.
Hey, everybody. This is Steve Wener filling in for our fearless leader over at Whissel Realty. And we are also sans Jason Hall. So we have someone from his team, Ricardo, filling in.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, Ricardo. And we have some pretty special guests. We have Susie Japs, who is our sound effects lady and also the owner of a company called We Jungo. She's making herself well known. And we also have Michael Terezza. And Michael is in the IT world, and his company is called Lithium. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Appreciate it. So today we're going to not do sports, which is the traditional kind of conversation that we have on Whissel Wednesdays, because Jason is not here. So we're going to just fill it in with all kinds of other family-related things, and of course, sound effects from Susie.
Help me.
It's going to be that kind of show. So first thing, I want to give a shout out to my wife, my beautiful wife. It's her birthday today. I won't say how old because she doesn't want to be older.
Happy birthday.
So she's 26. Thank you. She's 26.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I think the other most recent shout out we've got going on is Michael had a baby 4 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it feels like.
So tell me how the sleep's going.
It's going well. I don't know that there is any, but it's going well. It's getting better, actually.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
It'll keep getting better.
Yeah, that's what we hear.
What we did after 2, my wife had enough, and we had a doula, like a night nanny, spend time with us for our 3rd. I was very reluctant to pay the money, but what I quickly learned was after 2 to 3 weeks of adrenaline, you start to realize that you're not sleeping and you don't become a very good human. So
this is the first time I've heard about this. So what exactly is a night doula? I mean, do they just go and hang out in your house all night? And
yeah, they watch
deal with the baby whenever they wake up?
Yep. Exactly. They just take care of
sleep during the day?
Yeah, they're basically a vampire. So
That's crazy. They make the best doulas.
But I'll tell you, it was some of the best money we ever spent because, honestly, we got sleep. And when you're not getting it and you're trying to be productive and your wife is also having to deal with the baby during the day and all the challenges that come with being a mom, and it was our 3rd, it was just... Yeah, you can't put a price tag on it.
No, it's incredible all the things that you didn't expect you'd spend money on, that you'd be willing, that you'd pay double for now afterwards.
Yeah.
Things like a sleep consultant. I thought that was a ridiculous idea until we actually spent money on it, and within a week, Scarlett's sleeping not through the night, but waking up once in the middle of the night versus every 15 minutes, which is.
Is there a guarantee behind that?
To some extent, yes.
Excellent.
To some extent, yes, there was. A few of our friends recommended it, and they swore by it. And this person she was a miracle worker. We just got the kid on a schedule, and it was game changer.
Very interesting.
We kept hearing about Baby Wise.
Yes, the book Baby Wise.
Right,
yeah.
We kept hearing about Baby Wise, but we thought it was we just didn't want to do it. It was a really difficult, just let the baby cry regardless. And we didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. But for some families, it really worked. So I'd be interested in knowing more about a sleep consultant because I've never heard of it.
Sure. At the end of the day, it was just that we were keeping Scarlett up much more than we realized. Babies need to sleep a lot more than I expected. So she's only really up for about 5 or so hours a day, like awake time. So what we were doing before was putting her to sleep when she looked tired or when she seemed like she wanted to go to sleep, and we ended up just like over revving her constantly. So she wasn't able to then soothe herself and get back to sleep. So what the sleep consultant did was give us a schedule, and now we've got like a military schedule that Scarlett abides by, and she's up and down. She's up for an hour max, eating, playtime, and then back down for a 2-hour nap, give or take. So she gave us that, and she gave us some like guidelines on, okay, so if she wakes up in the middle of her nap, how long do we let her just kind of like try to soothe herself? And I mean, 10 to 15 minutes tops, and then go in and kind of shush her and calm her down, and a couple of cycles of that. And if she really won't sleep, then okay, we'll get her up and trying to start that cycle over again. So it was essentially pretty much that.
So really it was a plan for the parents versus a plan for the baby.
To some extent. At the end of most of the value was being able to text or call somebody at any time and say, are we doing this right? Are you sure this is what we're supposed to be doing? And that's what it was. It was like a great support system for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Man.
Man, I wish we would have had their show about a year ago. I would have really liked to know that. I mean, our baby was a year and a half now, and it was crazy. I mean, he was nice at the beginning. He after 2 months he was sleeping 10 hours a night.
Wow.
Not waking up. Wow. But now he's just he goes to sleep whenever he wants. We wait until he looks tired. Right. Sometimes 11 p.m. When he goes to sleep, and then he'll wake up in the middle of the night and won't go back to sleep.
Well, if you want this woman's information, I'm glad to share.
I think I might have to do that.
Sleep Shop is her company.
Well, there we go. Plug for Sleep Shop.
Exactly.
Well worth it.
Right. When your children get older, I've got the 3. So my oldest is 7, and middle she just turned 5, and our youngest is 2. And we went and did the challenge of a road trip, and I'm telling you, I was the one who was hyper optimistic because my wife was like, "This is going to be murder." I'm like, "Let's just give it a chance." And
famous last words.
How long was the drive for?
Well, we were driving to Wyoming, but we made stops in between. So we went to Bryce Canyon in Utah.
Nice.
Awesome. Did a 5-mile hike, which my wife was saying this is going to be a bad idea. And I'm like, let's try.
I like your optimism.
Right. So it turned out the same way as the drive. It was pretty crazy. And then we went to Salt Lake. Then we made it to Wyoming. And we left Wyoming a little bit earlier than we thought we would. And we said, let's go to a resort in Vegas where the kids are contained. And we did that and got a bit of sanity back and then made it back home. So we were gone for about 7-8 days and did 2,200 miles.
Wow.
And as I mentioned before we started airing, did a lot of Moana videos. So, yeah.
And will this be happening again next year?
No. Won't. Yeah, right.
How old's your youngest?
2.
Got it.
Yeah. And she was the tyrant because she just wanted to be out of her baby chair. Right, she just did not want to be strapped into a seat for hundreds of miles in a minivan.
That's a hard age because you can't really plop a video in front of them for long periods of time.
No, we were happy when she would just pass out, and we were like, she's asleep. And then my daughter Sienna would try to put a blanket on her, and I'm like, don't touch her. And so, of course, she'd wake her up, and I'd be like, no, because it was just so nice to have 80 miles of like quiet. So, yeah. But your children, Susie, are they 5 and 3?
Yeah, both boys, 5 and 3. And we're just to the phase where I will willingly get on an airplane with them because they're manageable.
Have you flown with them when they were younger before?
I have. We're actually originally from Minnesota, so we go back and actually pay money to go there in December every year. Christmas. And Christmas, and it's a 4-hour flight, so it's a challenge every year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, give me some tips because we're about to fly in 2 weeks with a 1.5-year-old. It's going to be a long trip.
Lots of snacks. And then also, I would say at that age, you just buy a bunch of like fun little cheap toys on Amazon and you individually wrap them and literally like every 15 minutes bring out a new little thing for them to play with.
My wife did the dollar store. That's what she did. She bought like, I didn't even know how much money she spent, but I think it was only $15.
It was worth it. It was totally worth it. I promise you. It was worth it.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. But did you guys have any adventures this year? You're about to fly, Ricardo, with your baby, but you guys have any adventures this year?
We went on a road trip pretty early on at about 2 months or so, and one thing we didn't factor in was the elevation. We went to Idlewild for a weekend, rented a cabin out there. We thought it'd be like a nice getaway. At 2 months, she was sturdy and super healthy, and we thought we'd just get away for the weekend, and we didn't factor in the elevation and what a huge impact that made on her. So we lasted a night there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good one.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was perfect sound effect.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to experience is the altitude.
So what does that do exactly then? I mean, how did it affect?
She was completely fussy nonstop. Wouldn't sleep, wouldn't eat, wouldn't stop crying. Pretty much, I mean, you can even feel it in like on her legs. Like it affected her. You know, like she was like retaining water.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm very affected by altitude.
Okay.
And I just didn't think about it. I just did not expect that. Yeah, she was just inconsolable.
Oh, poor baby.
I've been learning a lot so far.
Yeah, there you go.
I know, right?
So we're not going to Everest, is what you're saying, right?
Yes, not anytime soon.
Well, yeah, it's doing anything with young children that can't quite communicate yet. You just don't know what's going on, and then they're suffering, and you don't know what to do. But relieving the pressure of the ears, usually from drinking, will work, right? Because that's where a lot of the pressure is backed up. But again, at that age, and if you're dealing with it, it's super tough to say. But good on you for trying.
We tried, but it did break her in for a long car ride.
Right.
Before that, she would not relax in the car, and after that trip, she was fine. I think we broke through.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Have you been getting any tips and tricks from other people, Ricardo, about your coming trip?
I actually have not, to be honest with you. This is the first time I've gotten some tips, so definitely going to hit that dollar store. I mean, that's a genius idea.
You got to wrap them.
I mean, even just the smallest little things, it just makes me think about even just taking a bottle of water and removing the cap, and you hand it over, and it's like a brand new toy. Any like little tiny, little tiny thing.
And one last one, masking tape, right? So bring a roll of that and just let them like place it everywhere on the seats and pull them off. I swear. Wow. It entertains them for at least 30 minutes.
I mean, that entertains me for at least 30 minutes, so I can definitely see how it would entertain a baby.
Well, that's awesome.
I love it.
We're going to be going to a break here pretty quickly, but I did want to just let you know that Susie Japs will be coming to you from Jungo and explaining how she goes about helping companies with their hiring processes.
AM1170 The Answer, KCBQ.
Hey, Craig Sewing here, consumer activist. You hear me every day at 6 p.m. on KCBQ. My goal is to help you win in any marketplace. One of the things that applies to every single person that listens to our show and that's listening right now, you have a credit score, and more likely than not, it has inaccuracies on it. Nobody seems to understand how these things work. Here's what I can tell you. I have a credit expert that's a partner in the show named Aran Sinai. I call him the credit magician. If you've ever had any issues with your credit, you want to get your scores up, maybe a foreclosure, bankruptcy, or maybe just a collection. You know, the city of San Diego can send parking tickets to collections. Crazy. Well, bad credit's a choice. Reach out to Aran Sinai. How do you do that? You go to our website, AmericanDreamElite.com. AmericanDreamElite.com. Hit me up on the contact form. I'll connect you with Aran. AmericanDreamElite.com. If you've ever had any credit issues whatsoever, AmericanDreamElite.com. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream media? Tired of politicians? Tired of political correctness? Maybe some of the stuff you see on social media, it all can get a little bit nauseating. I agree with you. My name is Craig Sewing. You've heard me on KCBQ for years. You've probably seen my TV show, The American Dream, on Channel 4 every morning. All this stuff gets put up at craigsewing.com. Look, I believe we live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. And therefore, all of the shows, the things we do online, our social media, everything that is tied to my model and my brand is about lifting you and the American dream as a whole. I want you to join the movement. I really hope you can. It's really simple. We are doing radio shows, TV shows, newsletters, social media, all celebrating the fact that we live in the greatest country on the planet. I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but let's remember, San Diego, the weather's perfect year-round. In this country, people get paid more in welfare than doctors in other countries. We have an immigration problem where millions want in, not out of this country. We have a volunteer military that is willing to die to protect your freedoms. We have an amazing country. We should celebrate that. That's why I have a TV show called The American Dream, and it's why I'm asking you to join this mission. How do we do it? We spread the word. It's that simple. If you visit me online at craigsewing.com, there's a tab for the Dream Team. Join the Dream Team. It's just going to notify you of all the cool things we have going on in radio, TV, social media, and it gives you the opportunity to share the content and add your own 2 cents as well. I believe we can create our own movement. It starts at craigsewing.com. There's no strings attached. I'm not trying to get any money out of you or anything closely related to that. Not at all. Let's spread the word. craigsewing.com. Go there today, join the Dream Team, help us spread the word on the American Dream.
Hi, I'm Philippe Heller with the Real Estate Inspection Company. When buying real estate today, it's more important than ever to have a thorough home inspection to protect yourself. When quality and experience count, contact the Real Estate Inspection Company. We're the largest home inspection company serving San Diego for 10 years. After checking hundreds of items throughout a house, we provide a detailed computer-generated inspection report. And we use the newest and best infrared thermal imaging at every inspection 7 days a week. Check us out at sdinspect.com. That's sdinspect.com.
This is Craig Sewing, and I endorse Philippe Heller as our exclusive inspector for San Diego.
AM1170 The Answer. KCBQ.
Hi there, I am Steve Wener, filling in for Kyle Whissel today, and our first guest is Miss Susie Japs. How are you, Susie?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Excellent.
And I'm really excited to tell people about your company. Susie and I are in a group called Provisors together, and Provisors is a big referral type of a network organization. And not only does she get a red ribbon and candy every time she comes to our meetings, because she really does stand out that much to our leader, Kimberly Bast-Robideau, but she is always being named by people as an incredible referral source. And what we're going to touch on today with Susie are the hiring myths, mistakes, and the wins that she has developed strategies around, because so many people in the HR world don't see HR the way she does. What WeJungo does is they partner with small to mid-sized companies by building talent foundations, creating recurring strategies, hiring processes, and developing workforce solutions. And the first thing that I want to know is, you were in the HR business, but why did you start your own business, Susie?
Sure. And no offense to all the HR professionals out there, but
Sure.
we don't actually consider ourselves HR consultants.
Okay.
We term ourselves talent strategists, which was not a buzzword 6 years ago when we started the firm. It is today. But, you know, I started the company because when I started my career in recruiting in my early 20s, oftentimes I would see when we were helping companies place candidates that their hiring processes were broken. And a lot of companies didn't really know what to do when it came to hiring. And unfortunately, I often see staffing firms taking advantage of that. And I think unintentionally, but they take advantage of that by just placing people in and thinking that they're solving the problem when they're really not, because the problem is really actually with the process.
Okay.
And so that's why we started our company, is to help companies learn how do I better hire and attract talent myself, so I don't have to depend as much on outside resources.
So what did you notice yourself? Because being an entrepreneur and starting your own company also means you saw something that you could expand on. So how did you see that these processes were broken and that these companies kept repeating the same patterns, and you wanted to do something about it? Where did you find that fix?
Well, I think the biggest mistake or myth that I often see companies act on out there when it comes to hiring is the thought that I post a job ad, and if I don't get quality talent from it, that means that nobody's out there. So I have to go to a recruiter. And I think the misunderstanding there is that you're accessing 100% of the talent market when you post a job ad, and you're not. Especially not in a time when unemployment is so low and most people are actually employed. So what's happening is when you're posting a job ad, typically you're actually only attracting the people who are actively looking, which is a very small percentage of the talent market. It's maybe at most 20%.
So when you're saying actively looking, how are you going about finding top talent then, if these people are already employed and possibly happy with where they're at?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, what we do for companies is we show them how they can actually access that 80% of passive talent, the people who are in jobs. But truthfully, 80% of the talent market, they're not all 100% happy. Okay. I think we can all agree that there are people in jobs who are relatively happy, but there might be their dream job or ideal job out there. They're just too busy working to actually go out and look for it. But if they're approached by somebody like a company or a recruiter, let's say, with that ideal opportunity, the majority of that 80% are going to actually listen. They're going to say, yeah, tell me more about that position. What is it? You know, what company, what's the opportunity? And that is a big thing, is the opportunity. So making sure if you're a company that you're truly offering an opportunity, not just a job, not just something that an active person would apply to.
So can you walk the listeners through why or how or when somebody would approach you, and how you would then break down the process so differently from what you just mentioned about how other companies don't go about it? They just post online. So the differences that you bring obviously have stood out from what I've seen in our Provisors group. And I'd like the listeners to understand what that means, because I think so many people would still be stuck in yesterday's type of just post a job and hopefully somebody notices it.
$1 million.
That's for me.
Yes. Well, that is the $1 million question, right?
Right.
What can we do differently as a company? And I think the first thing you want to do is to understand the talent market. So we kind of already talked about that, right? 20% are active, 80% passive. How do you actually access the more passive talent? One thing that companies will often do is just post on whatever's cheapest, right? A Craigslist, Monster, CareerBuilder, Indeed.com, that's free, or even ZipRecruiter, which claims to post to 100 different job boards. But be more strategic and figure out, well, what position am I actually hiring for, and will those people actually go to that job board? So for example, something specialized like a digital marketing manager. Are those people really going to go to a Craigslist to look for a job? Right. So asking yourself that, then determining, okay, well, where would they be or where would they go? And one place that I would absolutely recommend a company focuses on is a professional networking group called LinkedIn. And that's the difference, is it's not a job board. It's a professional networking group where people who are not looking are on there networking. It just happens to have a job board function. So making sure that you are accessing talent that way, that's one of the ways. And then the other thing is, it's a really quick takeaway that a lot of companies are doing, but they can just slightly flip it, if you will, is, when you go into an interview, I've often seen people bring in a resume. And then they'll interview based off of a candidate's resume. Oh, I see you worked here. Tell me about this position. Oh, I see you have this accomplishment. Tell me about that. And our question always is for companies, who writes the resume? Who do you think writes the resume, Steve?
Right. A lot of them I've seen people have professionals write their resume. Sure. Right. And those people don't know them. They're just putting something together. But usually the individual writes their resume, I would assume.
Ding.
Right.
That's correct. So the thing is, if you're interviewing based off a candidate's resume, then you're allowing them to guide the conversation about stuff they're comfortable talking about. So instead, I always say, have a very specific job description of what you need that person to do, not what they have. So not like the years of experience and the degree, but what do they actually have to do? What are the actions they have to do to be successful? And ask questions around that to make sure that they're a good fit and a high performer in your organization versus interviewing based off a resume.
So that makes me want to ask you two questions. The first one is, when people are hiring, how do you come in and stop the company that has employed you from hiring the wrong person, let's say? Because if you come in later, and I'm not sure when you get involved in this, but if you came in later, let's say, and they were already hiring candidates, are you sitting in on the interview process? Are you going through that with people? What does that look like when you're normally employed to help them make the right decision?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of companies will joke and they'll say, well, can't we just hire you guys to make the decision for us? And that's not the point. The point is for us to teach them how to make better hiring decisions. So for us, yes, we'll oftentimes sit in on interviews and just make sure that they're digging in deep enough into the answers. So for a perfect example is a behavioral question that often gets asked is, tell me about a time you didn't get along with someone and what did you do? Right? Which is...
How would somebody even answer that honestly, seriously, in an interview? That baffles me.
It's so open and generic. And then if somebody does, they're going to answer based off a past experience that might not be as relevant to your company and your job. So the goal is that you're going to actually dig into that, finding out the who, what, why, when, and how, and making sure that you don't move over to the next question, which often is what happens is the hiring manager is just trying to get through this interview. So there's a bunch of surface level answers, and you're never really getting to the meat of what someone's done and how it actually translates to what you need to be done at your company.
Interesting. And that leads me into my second question, because you've been having so much success with this in helping companies hire and retain top talent, or even have people come over from other companies where they might not have been super happy, and then you brought them into a different environment where that was a perfect fit. So why aren't other companies emulating your style or approach within the world of attracting top talent and digging deeper?
I think it comes to the point of people just don't know what they don't know. Right. And a lot of actually what we train and teach companies are very common sense, but they're not commonly practiced. Well, so it's very simple concepts, but it actually does take work, and it's shifting you away from what the norm is of hiring. The traditional dogma of hiring, I would say, is that you always want to interview and hire the best degreed, most experienced people from your industry. Well, oftentimes you do that, and then you sit scratching your head 6 months later asking, why did this person not end up a superstar here? I don't get it. What did I miss? And where they missed is they were hiring based off what someone has versus what they can do.
Interesting. It's it just seems like, and again, maybe this speaks to you, your entrepreneurial spirit, where you saw things broken and how you wanted to fix it. But from what you're saying, people don't know what they don't know. If something isn't working and they're always hiring, or they're going through different positions and they're having to rehire and retrain, I mean, that's expensive and that's time consuming, right? So how would these companies just keep missing that?
I think it's one thing is that hiring is only a piece of your business, right? So nobody is usually an expert at hiring unless they're doing it often and making it a habit. So as a hiring manager or a CEO or a business leader, you're only hiring when you need to, so it's very reactive. And you also are being pulled in many different directions and you're in the weeds of your business. So I think that's one of the issues, is you're not able to just stop, slow down, and look at the hiring process alone, because you're focused on all these other things. So that's one thing that we do, is our goal is to come in and partner with companies and kind of be that outsourced branch of their company, so that somebody at least is focusing 100% on the hiring, even if they don't have time to, and making sure that the quality of hires are not being compromised.
Well, I think that's an incredible point that you made, as far as people in companies aren't always hiring, so they don't understand what it's like to go through the hiring process, because it's not often. And what so many of us fail to recognize is when we're not doing anything often enough, there is no flow, there's no normalcy. So we have really no idea how to go about it. So I think that's an incredible point to make. Right, thank you. I'll take that applause. And Susie, how do people get a hold of you, so you can tell the listeners that want to reach out to you, your company, get to know more about how you go through identifying top talent? If you just want to share an email, a phone number, whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure. Well, I would just direct you to our website, which is wejongo.com, WEJUNGO.com. And I would actually encourage you to first go to our blog. We have a lot of really great resources and articles there. And our goal, again, is to really just educate companies on how they can do it better themselves, so they're not paying so many fees to recruiters and other resources.
And before we go to break and have our next guest, Michael Terezza, can you also tell people how you came up with the name We Jungo?
Yeah. Okay. So quickly, what it means is it's the English word we and the Latin word jungo, which is joined together, which means we join together. The goal was to make sure that clients see us not as consultants, but as people that come in and really partner with them and join together with them to make sure that they're making the right hiring decisions.
And if you can see that attitude working for you and your company in the future, where somebody's got you in mind and making sure you all work together, please don't hesitate to reach out to Susie Japs of We Jungo. I am Steve Wener of Whissel Realty at 1170 The Answer.
AM 1170 The Answer, KCBQ.
Hey, San Diego, Craig Sewing here. Look, one of the things that nobody likes to hear is that they got bugs in their home. Almost all California homes have some sort of bug or termite problem. It's not a cool thing to have bugs running around your house, so I'm going to help you get rid of them. I want you to connect with Lloyd's Pest Control. These are our good friends of the Craig Sewing Show. They can help you. They've been in business, putting bugs out of business since 1931. They'll do a free inspection for you. If you want to get your biggest investment checked out, make sure there's not bugs or termites, go to LloydPest.com. That's LloydPest.com and get a free inspection of your real estate today. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream media? Tired of politicians? Tired of political correctness? Maybe some of the stuff you see on social media, it all can get a little bit nauseating. I agree with you. My name is Craig Sewing. You've heard me on KCBQ for years. You've probably seen my TV show, The American Dream, on Channel 4 every morning. All this stuff gets put up at craigsewing.com. Look, I believe we live in the greatest city in the greatest country on the planet. And therefore, all of the shows, the things we do online, our social media, everything that is tied to my model and my brand is about lifting you and the American dream as a whole. I want you to join the movement. I really hope you can. It's really simple. We are doing radio shows, TV shows, newsletters, social media, all celebrating the fact that we live in the greatest country on the planet. I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but let's remember, San Diego, the weather's perfect year-round. In this country, people get paid more on welfare than doctors in other countries. We have an immigration problem where millions want in, not out of this country. We have a volunteer military that is willing to die to protect your freedoms. We have an amazing country. We should celebrate that. That's why I have a TV show called The American Dream. dream, and it's why I'm asking you to join this mission. How do we do it? We spread the word. It's that simple. If you visit me online at craigsewing.com, there's a tab for the Dream Team. Join the Dream Team. It's just going to notify you of all the cool things we have going on in radio, TV, social media, and it gives you the opportunity to share the content and add your own 2 cents as well. I believe we can create our own movement. It starts at craigsewing.com. There's no strings attached. I'm not trying to get any money out of you or anything closely related to that. Not at all. Let's spread the word. craigsewing.com. Go there today. Join the Dream Team. Help us spread the word on the American dream.
Hi, I'm Philippe Heller with the Real Estate Inspection Company. When buying real estate today, it's more important than ever to have a thorough home inspection to protect yourself. When quality and experience count, contact the Real Estate Inspection Company. We're the largest home inspection company serving San Diego for 10 years. After checking hundreds of items throughout a house, we provide a detailed computer-generated inspection report. And we use the newest and best infrared thermal imaging at every inspection 7 days a week. Check us out at sdinspect.com. That's sdinspect.com.
This is Craig Sewing, and I endorse Philippe Heller as our exclusive inspector for San Diego.
AM 1170 The Answer. KCBQ.
Hi there. I am Steve Wener filling in for Kyle Whissel today on Whissel Wednesdays. And our next guest, we have Mr. Michael Terezza of Lithium. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Of course. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks much.
We've got an East Coast boy who just had a baby 4 months ago.
Absolutely.
And has a sleep consultant. So, right?
I feel like I deserve that. Thanks.
Exactly. Michael is in the IT world, but the times we've sat together beforehand, you've expressed your software company and what you do for people in the software arena. But because you're also more specialized in what you can do for people, please just let our listeners know as to what it is that you do and what your solutions, as far as the broad range and scope, and how they can apply to them, please.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, at the end of the day, we build systems and software tools for businesses, right? And those tools help businesses grow exponentially. And what that means essentially is if you picture what Airbnb would look like if they were using fax machines, email, Excel, and all of their bookings required manual oversight, right? Yep. How quickly they would or not have gotten to a $31 billion valuation. What we do is build those sort of software infrastructures and software tools for companies that allow them to get out of the weeds, get out of the day-to-day Excel-based operation, get rid of, reduce risk through double data entry, and create integrated operating platforms and software tools for companies.
So
that's what we do.
Prior to commercial, when we had Susie on, she was saying that people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
So because software is so big and it's always changing,
yes.
How do people know to find you?
Through our partners. Yeah, and that's a genuine answer because it is complicated. Most people aren't looking for lithium for my company. They're not looking for a custom software solution to solve their challenges. They're looking for a solution to one of their symptoms. So that may be, hey, we need a new project management tool, or we need a new task management system, or a new plugin for Outlook, or something like that. Where in reality they're trying to solve a symptom that is they're trying to solve a challenge that is a symptom of a larger issue, which is a sort of a global or a bigger view of their technology landscape in the company.
So who are your partners that you
Our partners
try to
tend
educate?
to be consultants, business consultants, management consultants is one, and then on the other side, marketing companies, digital marketing companies, and design companies. They speak our language, and they don't solve the problems that we do. And consultants, they see the problems that we can solve for and provide solutions for.
So obviously you have to get those people, those companies, those partners on the same page as you. And that's always the challenge, of course, is building partnerships with people that believe in you.
Absolutely.
So that they'll praise your name.
Absolutely.
Help me help you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's pretty much begging. Let me just help you.
Exactly. That's what I want to say to every business out there. Just please let us help you for sure.
And Susie didn't even want to do her interview. She just wanted to play with the soundboard. So now she's got her dream.
I love it.
Exactly. But just please let me know what your approach is when you go to these people that you're looking to partner with so that they can praise your business and explain that you're the solution for them.
Sure.
And you'll help build it. How do you approach these these companies because they really are your voice in the end.
Absolutely. How do I approach from a tactical perspective?
Period. Like, how are you going about them to sell your company, your skill set?
I think part of it is just demonstrating capability and expertise, and that we will take care, that we would never, that we would take care of them like a partner should. We've done business with, we've been in business 17 years now, and I have clients that we've done business with almost that entire time, which I think speaks to our approach to partnership in general. So when I'm working on developing new strategic partners, I want to educate them so that they understand how we are going to treat our customers. We're not one and done. We're not a one and done type of shop. We don't want to get in there and build a solution and then walk away from it. We want to be a partner to a company and help guide their technology decisions as they evolve over the course of the years, and as their company changes and their needs change.
So because you've had some of these people with you for 17 years, can you walk the listeners through a scenario that stands out in your mind that you'll share with people as to, we started with this, we grew to that, we did this for them?
Yeah, absolutely. A great example, a company that we're still working with today, that we've been working with since 2003 or so, is Ratani. They're a very, very large diamond jewelry engagement ring company. We started building their platforms, their technology platforms, over 10 years ago. Is that 14 years, give or take? And we started with just their website, essentially with some content management tools built into it. And then that evolved into an e-commerce platform. And then that evolved into a sort of a B2B platform, where that e-commerce platform, their vendors would be able to log in and sort of create purchase orders. And then that just evolved and evolved and evolved as they grew. They were a very small company, and now they're a publicly traded company.
Wow.
And we're still doing all of their technology development. And now the platform has grown to the point where the vendors have logins. There's order management. There's a virtual gemologist. There is an unbelievable amount of technology that's baked into this system that allows them to operate entirely digitally.
So out of curiosity, as they were growing, were you coming to them with things that might be great solutions?
Absolutely.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, were they thinking of these things, or were you as a partner coming across and saying, hey, you know what?
Absolutely a two-way conversation. The answer is both. Right. Sometimes they brought us things and wanted to bounce it off somebody that was technical. Is this a good idea? Is this something that is a viable technical solution to what we're trying to do? And other times we see opportunities just in work. We work across a lot of verticals, which I think gives us an advantage. In a lot of cases, we work in construction, we work in nonprofits, we work in manufacturing, and we see things that work in these industries, and we're able to kind of distill that into best practices. Isn't the right word, but we find the things that work and bring them to other industries that aren't using them. So yeah, in the jewelry industry, there's certainly things that we see, and we're able to bring them, like the virtual gemologist idea. That's a specialized microscope that they have, they got built, a specialized microscope that's connected to the internet, where a gemologist can pull a diamond, a very specific diamond out of a drawer, and have a one-on-one sort of, not really Skype, but something along those lines, interview with somebody, or I don't know what you call it, not an interview, a session, I suppose.
Right, yeah. And
show them the diamond that they're going to buy, and these are very, very high-end diamonds. So things like that we're able to bring to the table and say, what do you think? None of your competitors are doing this. Is this a cool idea? Let's try it.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I was going to say no fugazis, right? Yes. But no, that speaks volumes, because if you've got a company that trusts you that much, that really speaks for who you are, your morality, the ethics that you bring to the table, a true partnership.
Absolutely.
And when somebody feels that way, they don't ever just terminate that relationship, because you've grown into their world.
Exactly.
And when you do something like that symbiotic relationship, it doesn't feel like a work relationship anymore.
It's not transactional any further,
Yeah, and those are the best relationships, because everybody's just open and honest with each other. And I'm sure you spitball ideas, some work, some don't work.
For sure.
Probably give your opinion, and they're going to listen.
Certainly.
As opposed to build me this, and you're like, you know what, I could, it's going to cost you this, but
right.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
and I don't know
that speaks to the very first conversation that we often have with people when a company may come to us with, you know what, we want to build this particular tool. And sometimes it just takes very tough love or a very frank conversation. Like, listen, this isn't what you need. You need something entirely different that you haven't thought of yet, because you're thinking about solving this symptom and not a bigger issue.
Those things, again, just speak volumes. Having Susie of Wejongo also just work to incorporate herself into a business so that she can help them understand their processes better. Having you also partner and really dig into who are you as a company. It's, both of you do that, and then you bring your solutions. So for the listeners that we have on right now, if you're talking to them about how and why they need you, what can you express as to what should they be thinking about? What does their world need to look like in order to go, you know what, Michael would be a great fit? And also, please just let the listeners know how they can reach out to you as far as contact information.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'd urge them to go look at the website lithium.net, and that's spelled lithyem.net.
One more time, can you repeat that?
Sure, lithyem.net, and go look at our case studies on there. Some really interesting different types of projects that I think give an example of projects in different ranges, from small businesses all the way up to enterprise businesses. And the question one more time, I'm sorry.
No, it's just about really understanding the listeners that are out there. How do they come to you? Why do they find you? What are they looking for? If it's not, let's just say through partners that they have. But
so I suppose really when companies hire us because they want to get to the next level. They're stuck in operations. They're stuck in day-to-day operations. Any company that's looking to take their business to the next level and get out of the weeds and apply their skills and their specialty to do more of what they're in business to do, and to get less out of the administration. That's where we can help. That's where we can help.
You play to win the game.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Jinx.
Yeah.
What the other thing I think people really need to understand in a partnership like that is the budget relatively small? Is it big? Because a lot of people are also, money shy.
Sure.
They want to get to the next level, but not everybody wants to spend money.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's solutions out there for every company, for small businesses and large businesses. And sometimes the solutions we provide are a combination of off-the-shelf systems out there and integrations, and all the way up to completely custom proprietary systems that a company owns the IP to, that it adds actual business value to. But there's solutions for every budget out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, Michael Terezza of Lithium, and he has put his information out there. And when we come back after this break, we're going to have Susie give her information again, Michael give his information again, so you can get a hold of him. And we're also going to speak mortgage language. I'm Steve Wener, 1170 AM The Answer.
The Answer, KCBQ.
What if you could safely grow your retirement account with a reasonable rate of return with no risk of principal? Hi, this is Dave Harris with Wealth Preservation, specializing in retirement income and insurance planning. There's nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans protect and grow their retirement savings. For over 4 decades, we have helped families achieve financial success. If you need help with your retirement planning, please visit me online or call me today. My number is 800-313-PLAN, or visit me online at wealthpreservationllc.com.
Your Social Security number is at more risk than you think. Personal information like your Social Security number, bank account information, and your taxes need to be protected. Hi, I'm Angie Stanley with Oakwood Escrow. As a consumer, when you're buying, selling, or refinancing a home, you do have a choice in who you use for escrow. Oakwood Escrow has gone to extreme measures to make sure your private information is kept safe and secure. Call me today and reference The Craig Sewing Show to receive a custom gift at the close of your escrow. Call 858-217-5248, 858-217-5248, or visit oakwoodescrow.com.
Hi, I'm Philippe Heller with the Real Estate Inspection Company. When buying real estate today, it's more important than ever to have a thorough home inspection to protect yourself. When quality and experience count, contact the Real Estate Inspection Company. We're the largest home inspection company serving San Diego for 10 years. After checking hundreds of items throughout a house, we provide a detailed computer-generated inspection report. And we use the newest and best infrared thermal imaging at every inspection 7 days a week. Check us out at sdinspect.com. That's sdinspect.com.
This is Craig Sewing, and I endorse Philippe Heller as our exclusive inspector for San Diego.
Your home should be a place that you love coming to. Hi, I'm Nikki Klug, interior designer, and there is nothing I enjoy more than helping San Diegans live in homes that they fall madly in love with. I've helped hundreds of homeowners experience a sense of luxury, rejuvenation, and inspiration in their everyday lives. If you need help creating a home that you love, please visit me online at nikkiklugdesign.com or call me at 619-948-7173.
AM 1170, The Answer, KCBQ.
I am Steve Wener coming to you live. It's almost nighttime. I'm here with Whissel Realty. I'm having the best guest on the planet. And while we're at our break, I was speaking with Susie Japs, and she wanted to give you, the listeners, a little bit of a tidbit that you can bring into your world. So she's going to help you make a bit more aware of your processes.
Thank you. So one tip that I wanted to give the listeners today that I think is super simple, and you literally can go back and use it today in your process, is when it comes to reference checks. So a lot of times when we go into companies, we actually notice that they're not consistently completing those, and the response we get is, well, what's the point? We're going to get a list of people that are going to say great things about them anyways. Why should we even do it? And our response to that is always, don't ask, tell. And what I mean by that is, don't ask them for a list of who they want you to speak with. If you interviewed them thoroughly and you know exactly what experience is relevant, you should know what manager, coworker, client, whatever that person is that you need to speak with in their past, and you need to go to them and tell them those are the people you want to chat with. And it's a much different conversation, and their response will also be very telling as to whether they've been honest with you or not.
Well, that's a really interesting point. Yeah, I think that's great. And I think so many of us put who to call as far as our references on there and think they're just going to give us the best recommendation in the world. So that's a great point. We are, there we go. We have Ricardo now from Team Home Loans. And Ricardo, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Your boss, Jason, is in Las Vegas enjoying himself at the
having a great time
conference.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But I wanted to just have you in there express what the Team Home Loans approach does, and also the fact that completely bilingual and how you help, again, the Spanish speakers that are in San Diego that, again, I don't speak Spanish, and we have, of course, an overwhelming amount of people that speak Spanish here, and Spanish is a first language. So if you want to touch on those 2 points, from expressing what kind of an expert you are in the mortgage world, and also how that's factored into helping Team Home Loans.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who don't know me, my name is Ricardo Nava. I work with Team Home Loans, which is actually a branch of a bigger company called Synergy One Lending, which is actually headquartered right here in San Diego in Mission Valley. If you ever drive up the 15, when you get to the 8 intersection right there, right off of the bridge, you'll see this big glass building. It says Encore on the top, where they're actually in that building. And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of people don't realize that, having a company that's headquartered here is extremely important, as opposed to a bigger company, let's say like a Quicken, that has their headquarters in a completely different state, or their underwriters, or your entire loan is being shipped outside of San Diego, as opposed to staying here. And when it comes to our actual branch, I can't really necessarily call it like a little boutique shop, because we're attached to a bigger corporation.
Sure.
But we operate like that. We operate like a small business, because we're very family oriented, and it's all about the customer service. And I'm going to be, upfront and honest and say, are we going to have the absolute bottom lowest interest rate out there? Probably not, because you can always find some random internet lender that can just give you some like dirt rate, but you're also you get what you pay for.
You close late and you don't get service.
You're gonna get, or you might not even get the loan. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that can affect it, and a lot of those companies don't even hire people who know what they're doing. So our main focus is that experience, and the reason why the majority of our business is referral business is because people love doing business with us. Even after the first meeting, I get a lot of, this is so amazing. I'm surprised you took the time to explain every single piece of the process. Sure. Even if the person who comes in is not 100% qualified to necessarily buy a home right now, I treat them like they are, and they get the entire explanation of pre-approval all the way to close of escrow, and they know all the terms, all the concepts, everything. They walk out of there empowered. And I think that's one of my main things, is really educating and empowering people is kind of what I like to focus on. I feel like if enough people know what they're doing, then it can prevent them from potentially putting themselves in something that's not going to benefit them or that could even actually hurt them. Sure. I mean, you're familiar with what happened, back in 2008, and what a crazy time that was. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they lost their houses, they lost their retirements, they lost their life savings. People committed suicide. I mean, it was a crazy time. And, I feel like if you're informed, then you have a better chance of not allowing that to happen again. Of course. And that kind of segues into dealing with the Hispanic community here in San Diego also, because me being of Mexican descent, I was born here in San Diego, but my parents are from Mexico. And I do have a lot of clients that are Spanish speaking. And I've noticed that a lot of them don't really trust banks. They don't really trust, mortgage people or real estate professionals, because they've been either burned in the past or they've heard, stories of people who have been burned, they've been taken advantage of. Because the reality is that, and one thing I've learned in being in this industry is that it's really hard to kind of translate a lot of the terms and concepts of the mortgage industry into Spanish. And I think that's kind of the reason why it's hard for people who are primarily Spanish speakers to understand what's going on, because it's really a complicated process when you really dig into it.
That's a great point to make.
Yeah. And so what I actually did is I actually partnered up with two other industry professionals. One is in finances, the other one is actually in insurance.
We need a button for finance and insurance, Susie. So you gotta make sure you're jumping in.
And I know there it is. So we partnered up and we formed this nonprofit organization, and it's it's called Avance, which is Spanish for advancing. The full title is Avance Progreso Hispano, which means advancing and the progression of the Hispanic community, basically. And the whole thing is geared towards that. It's just strictly like education, and it's not just about mortgages, not just about real estate, not just about finances, not just about all these things. It's about everything and just everything in life, and that's kind of what we're focusing on. We're at the very, very, very ground level, where right now we're hosting once a month. We're doing seminars and workshops. Right. The one coming up is going to be all about planning for your retirement.
Let the listeners know, when is that coming up? I think that's an important date.
Actually, let me check the calendar here. I believe the next one coming up is going to be September 9th. Yeah, September 9th at 10 a.m. It's going to be at the Chula Vista Public Library.
And how can people get a hold of you for that as well? You just announced where it is, but if people want to reach out to you directly.
Absolutely. So our website is still being built. As like I said, we're in the beginning stages right now. So the best way to contact us right now is through Facebook. Okay. And if you look up Avance, which is AVANCE, then it should pop up and you should see it there. And that's the best way to get a hold of us. Obviously, any sort of contribution is more than welcome, because we're also trying to build everything from scratch. So we also have a GoFundMe where you can search the same.
Sounds like you're sitting by the right guy.
I know. I've been listening to all these people, and I'm like, wow, I could probably use all of this. But yeah, we're on GoFundMe. It's under the same name. You can find us there too. But we really have a vision of expanding this, really, really big into not just education, but also maybe providing certain things like maybe scholarships down the road, for children who want to learn more about this, classes, things like that. So it's that all ties into the whole, let's all be informed, and I think that's so important, especially with, Steve, I know that you're also in the real estate industry. So that's one of our main jobs, is just to educate people on the process.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
What I really appreciated about you when we had our last meeting, and Jason's a great leader, by the way. He brought your entire team. It was the first time you brought everybody to the office to see everything that goes on behind him. And I told him, I said, I really appreciated that, because generally you only see the face. Right. You don't see the machine behind that's there to support. And then you also just lent a hand in saying, if we ever have any Spanish-speaking clients, you'll be there to help them through the process.
Right.
Which, again, speaks volumes about you. So I appreciated that.
Absolutely.
And we had the opportunity to work an open house at one of my listings over the weekend.
Yeah, we did.
Which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's, for those of you, I'm just getting to know Ricardo, but just a phenomenal young man. And I didn't even know that part that you were building as far as that nonprofit. So again, another person in here where it speaks volumes about what you're trying to do more than just be somebody in the mortgage world. Thank you, Susie.
Right, and right now, times are very interesting right now, I would say, because, if I can segue into the whole kind of what's going on, just real briefly before we cut into break, is when it comes to interest rates, things are pretty much relatively quiet, because people always ask you what's going on with rates. So they're pretty much at a standstill right now. So I would say right now would be the perfect time if you're wondering to either buy or possibly refinance your home, because the Federal Reserve is expecting to raise them up again by the end of the year, probably closer to the 5% range.
Totally makes sense. And for those of you that need to refinance, please call Ricardo. What I really want to also just enunciate on in the real estate market before we conclude this, I just put a market update together yesterday where we've only got 2 months of inventory. It's unbelievable. $620,000 is the median price point across San Diego County. We're down on inventory again month over month. I mean, it's just an incredibly tight market. And all of the properties that I listed this month, everything is gone within days, and everything has gone over list price. So
that's crazy.
It is crazy. So for those of you that are looking as far as buying, having somebody to put a plan together, if you're selling, really putting a marketing plan together, please reach out. Stephen Wener, Whissel Realty, 760-300-9166. Thank you to all our listeners. Thank you to our guests. And we are 1170 AM, The Answer.
That's just how we live in my genre. Who in the hell done paved the road wider? There's only one blow and one rider. I'm a damn shouter.